All right. We are live. Valhalla. Boots on the ground. Final thoughts. I assume everything is sounding. It takes. I assume everything. It's up to somebody in the chat if things aren't working, if something sounds wrong, to alert us. But I think we are vibing. Matt, how are you doing? You got another workout in. You've worked out all 3 days.
Yeah, I can't miss a day. Even when we're out of Valhalla, gonna do the same for Pinehurst. Gonna do the same for the British Open. Got to get the gains in. Yeah, another great day. Endless more, 20,000 more steps. It's just like your calves are sore. I'm feeling sore, but we do it. Boots on ground. We're doing it for you guys. Ton of content coming. You guys are gonna enjoy the show. So let's get into it.
Yeah, I think like we talked about on Monday, the Monday pod was that we walked all 18 holes of the course. We saw some things. We talked through what we thought the course conditions, how the course was going to play. And then we said we'd come back on Wednesday after seeing as many golfers as we could possibly see, give you our thoughts, talk through them. As always, if you're listening, like and subscribe. We really appreciate everyone who has engaged with content all this week. It's been super fun. It's great to talk to other people who love golf as much as we do. We saw some people at the course who had listened to the pod. That was cool. Shout out to those folks that we ran into. And overall, the people of Louisville have been nothing but kind to us, Matt. They've been good.
Yeah, pleasantly surprised with the people of Louisville. Everyone was super cool to us. Everyone was super cool just hospitality-wise. Uber drivers, a ton of Ubers this week, and everyone was super nice. So shout out Kentucky. Shout out Louisville. Great state. My first time here.
Let's start with first of all, BK is asking why we aren't wearing the all caps Holla hat. I had to stop in the merch tent. We went in the merch tent a couple of times. I wasn't planning on getting anything, but then this hat reminded me of the Smash GC hat, which I've been eyeing for Brooks, and since we'll get to it, but I think Brooks is my live favorite this week at Valhalla. I said I would get this hat in honor of him and then Taylor Gooch because there's not many teams. I think High Flyers have a couple, or not. Yeah, High Flyers have 2 people. I don't think there's any LIV teams that have 3 players, but so this is my Valhalla / Smash hat. Yeah,
no Sergio Garcia. So the Firebolts have 2 players.
I think they're like,
yeah, I was thinking Rahm. Legion's got 2 players.
Yeah, Legion's got 2. High Flyers have 2. Stinger, shout out Burmy. It's a shame Louis is not here. Burmy might be the coolest guy that we came across.
Yeah, Burmy's definitely one of the nicest guys out there. Shout out Stinger. I almost wore my Stinger shirt yesterday, but I didn't. Would have been. It was a huge miss on my end. He would have signed it.
It was a huge miss. But all right, let's get into it. Let's not fuck around. We got lots of takes. Who knows how long this pod is? I think we saw every golfer in the field, with a couple small exceptions or big exceptions that I guess we'll get to as we go down the odds board. But before we get into the players specifically, anything change for you about the course versus what we said on Monday? I think for me, very similar. Like I feel like there's been
absurd.
Yeah, I feel like there's been other majors where on Monday versus Wednesday, I was like, fuck, I got to walk back some of the things maybe that I said on Monday. I don't think that's the case at all. If anything, I'm shifting. I think the off the tee story is the same off the tee story. The rough grew up a little bit. There's certain holes where the rough's kind of deep, but it's at certain majors I've been to, if you are in the rough or in a fairway bunker, you cannot get the ball to the green. It is a penalty that is going to stop you from getting the ball up next to the green. That is not the case by any way here. But it's gotten softer. It's rained. It rained pretty much all day Tuesday. It rained hard overnight last night, and it rained this morning. And it heated up a little bit in the afternoon today, and it was nice the rest of the afternoon. That's why I had to get the hat because my face was burning a little bit. But the change that I'm making is I think more guys are going to hit greens than I think I originally thought. Even with the 200-plus yard iron shots, 175-plus, whatever it is, enough guys are going to hit greens, but they're not going to be able to get it very close. They're going to be 15, 25 feet away, which is what we talked about on Monday. But now I think putting, like I'm shifting a little bit of what I had in the how much you need to gain in approach over to putting just because it's so easy to scramble too.
Scrambling stupidly easy.
Yeah, guys who miss greens are going to be able to get up and down and make par. And if you're a good iron player, you hit it to 15 feet and you 2-putt, that's also par for you. Like you're not going to differentiate yourself quite as much maybe as I thought with the iron play. It's still number 1 key without a doubt.
Right.
But you've got to make some putts. So I think there were some guys maybe that I had my eye on going after Monday that I ended up not liking as much just because I couldn't quite get there with the flat stick.
Yeah, the rough definitely grew up a little bit, and they're not going to cut it. Apparently, we've heard today that they're not going to cut it through Sunday. I would say it's very similar to a Torrey Pines long irons vibe. Like, you can manage it from the rough. obviously you don't want to be in the rough, but you're not dead. Like you guys are going to hit in the rough here and there. Fairways are still fairly easy to hit, but the fairways are lush. The fairways are perfect. I was so impressed with how they drained. They were so dry at 12:30 in the afternoon after it rained in the morning, poured overnight. The rough was a little bit wet, and the fairways were like you're hitting off, like you go to your range and you're hitting off of a mat. And Kessler Corinne said these are some of the best fairways he's ever seen, and he's caddied all over the world. So, yeah, great conditions. Fairway is priority, obviously, but the iron shots are manageable from the rough if you do get there.
That is a quick aside. I didn't realize how good of boys you were with Kessler. You were like, we're going to see P. We're going to say what's up to Kessler. And I was like, all right, let's like see what happens. He stopped, turned around, like gave you a hug, and we talked to him for a couple of minutes. But yeah, he said the Zoysia in these fairways is the nicest he's ever hit off of. Now he's not hitting off of. He's talking about P, of course. But yeah, so that's an insight.
Great guy,
yeah, great guy. But yeah, I think so. Pretty much everything. What I was going to say was, I thought when it started pouring down rain on Tuesday that we were going to come back here and be like distance, because like now it's going to be, some guys are going to be hitting in from 240 on some of these holes. To your point, these things dried out. They feel like a range mat. Like just imagine going to the driving range, not one of those like kind of old shitty range mats, one of those newer ones that kind of looks like real grass, but it's not. That's what they reminded me of. And things had pretty much dried out in the fairways by today. And I still think you just got to be above average distance.
Yeah.
You don't need to be a bomber, just above average distance. And
I'm pretty on par with what we said on Monday in terms of that.
BK is in the chat saying he doesn't know whose caddy that is. I don't
know.
Does BK know? Is BK a ball knower?
I don't know. If you don't know who Kessler Crane is, that is the caddy for Patrick Reed. So
I would say that the only reason I think that people in general would know him is because didn't he punch somebody in the President's Cup in Australia? That's the only reason I knew who he was.
Yeah, so great guy. I know P. Reed gets a bad rap, but his caddy is good people. His wife was also there walking with them, carrying the yardage book. She was
the used golf. We saw used golf facts.
We saw used golf facts in the flesh. Beautiful woman.
So I think course conditions, everything we talked about on Monday, probably true. So if there's people listening now who maybe didn't listen to Monday, we see this as a long iron fest. We see there's probably 6 or 7 holes where you're going to be forced to hit shots from 180 plus. 4 of those are par 3s. A couple of them are forced layups on par 4s. We think the par 5s are the trickiest holes on the course. There's no free birdies on the par 5s except maybe 18, but you still need to hit some good shots. Par 3 is certainly the hardest holes. I will also
take 18 was Ryan was telling us today, the tee box. If they move it up, it's a better hole by far.
Yeah, so I think on 18, there's been a lot of I've seen like tweets or coming into the week people are talking about there's this new bunker on 18. It's supposed to like defend against the bombers. No one can even reach the bunker. So they built the bunker too far, and it's defeated the entire purpose. I will say, my thoughts about Valhalla entirely unchanged. I don't have much positive to add. I'll even add more negative because you tweeted out many times. There is such deep rough all around where the fans are walking, and people were like in your comments when you tweeted that saying like, "Whoa, the fans need to walk around rough." It's like, I don't want to be walking through like ankle deep wet rough all day while I'm trying to watch the golf. Like, that is annoying. Actually, that is frustrating. I don't like that. So that's my beef as a fan. But I will, because we're focused on the players here. I already gave all my Valhalla takes. I'm just saying I have no changes to the take, but I will rock this hat for the pod. And I'll represent Valhalla for the rest of the week. And I
got mine on too. I got my Hala hat on too. Not nearly as cool as him, but I'm a big trucker hat guy, big backwards hat guy. I had to rip this one, but yeah. But also, I was getting a lot of shit for my Valhalla tweets about the thick rough. I wasn't saying it's a hazard for fans. I was making a joke about how it's more penal for the fans to walk through than the players to actually play from because it's not in play. No one's driving it there. And if you are driving it there, you shouldn't be in this event. So we'll move on.
Yeah, I did have to check myself for ticks. I was slightly afraid that we were going to pick up Lyme disease covering the event with how deep the rough is. So if you do go out to Valhalla, if you're walking through this rough, be careful. Check yourself for ticks afterwards. Safety first. But let's just get into it. We're just going to go down the board because that's the easiest way I feel like to cover the guys and what we saw. And I'll preface this like I preface it in the articles that are on Vincerix. And anyone who's in the Discord will know this. Anyone who's listened to Boots on the Ground Major stuff before will know this. We go to these events because I think, as somebody who loves to bet on golf, that I would love to hear some additional context of how players are playing the course and how they look. This is one piece of information to go along with the stats that you're seeing, the models that you might run, other things people might say, other takes that people have. This is us saying this is what we saw.
This is what we think.
These players could show up tomorrow and play entirely different. This is golf. So if anybody just goes off and blindly follows what we say, that's your choice. We're probably going to be right about a good amount of things. We're probably going to be really wrong about a reasonable amount of things. There are going to be things we say about guys on this pod. We say they have no chance they mix. There's going to be guys that we really like who end up sucking, missing the cut. But we're just going to tell you how we saw it and go from there. So we'll start with the man atop the board, with the man who's the only one here who could hunt down a grand slam. It's not Nick Dunlap. It is not Nick Dunlap. Jersey isn't letting me start the pod with Nick Dunlap. I would like to. He may have stolen Scotty's powers based on what we saw out there. But Scottie Scheffler, a man who I've seen now, I estimated I've seen 50-plus practice round holes from Scotty over the last 2 years of players in majors practice rounds. I have seen him absolutely flush, perfect golf almost every time. There's 2 times I haven't. In Royal Liverpool, at the Open, that's the only time I've ever seen him stand on a tee box and hit 5 different balls trying to find the fairway. Most guys in practice rounds are hitting a lot of balls, multiple shots from. Scotty never does that. He just hits it down the middle, hits it on the green, easy game. What did we see from Scotty?
It's like you or I on the range, hitting a bad shot, looking real frustrated, one-hand finish, baffled. I've never seen Scottie Scheffler do that in my life of watching golf, and never in person either. So clearly, obviously not feeling 100%. A lot of things going on in Scottie Scheffler's life right now. Take that for what it's worth. He's still Scottie Scheffler. But.
We saw him miss. I said this: if you miss the 6th fairway, that's auto blacklist, auto removed from the app. There was players later in the day I was interested in betting Wyndham potentially. He missed the 6th fairway. Like missing the 6th fairway to me was a litmus test of if you were going to be serious about the golf this week. Scotty missed that fairway. We saw him on 18 today. I didn't even know Scotty knew how to signal 4 left off. I've never seen him have to signal 4, yell 4, do anything like that. He nearly took out some people left at the 18th fairway today. So Scotty, not as dialed as I've usually seen him, and he is usually perfect golf. Always perfect golf from Scotty. That's not what it was so far. I think you add in the fact that it's really hard to go out and win the next major after the Masters. That does not happen very often. Scotty missed the cut at Southern Hills the last time that he won the Masters. So you put all these things together, and for me, I've come on these pods for the players. I've done these for previous majors, and I've been like, I don't know how they're going to beat Scotty this week. I can see how they're going to beat Scotty this week. Now, with that being said, this course is so straightforward. I don't think Scotty's going to be making a lot of bogeys. Like, he's so good at scrambling. He's so smart. He's not going to get in a lot of trouble. So when I say I don't think this is a week where Scotty wins, I still think he can't finish worse than like tied for 10th, maybe. Right. And I'm not a big DFS guy. Like, somebody else out there can crunch the numbers. I know there's DFS people listening and decide what place does Scotty need to finish where it makes sense at the ownership and things like that. That's not my cup of tea. That's not my expertise. Somebody else can tell you that. But I just think most weeks I'm like, Scotty's probably going to win. He's going to be really tough to beat. I think if he finished T10 this week, I would not be surprised in the slightest. And I'll probably say, again, going out on a limb, Scotty will probably win. You can say that I was wrong. That's fine. I'm just giving you my honest opinion. I'd say T4 is where I'm capping Scotty based on what I saw this week, plus all the other things I added just about the context of having a kid, trying to win again after the Masters. Ted Scott's not going to be there for a day. That's my Scotty take.
Yeah, we did this exact same thing ahead of the players, and we both said, not sure how Scotty doesn't win this event based on how we saw him play, based on how the course set up. And so that take is honest. We really do not think Scotty's going to finish like he's been the last. No one golfer has beaten Scotty since February 18th was the last time he was beaten in a golf tournament. And I think that changes this week.
And it may be Scotty Eggs who beats him again. So, yeah, so Stevie Eggs. So take Stevie Eggs. It might be Eggs who beats him again. If Scotty can't win, that probably just means Eggs is going to win. So get Eggs on the card. But yeah, so that's our Scotty take. I also think just from a course perspective, I think maybe we said this on Monday, but his strongest suit to me this year has just been how consistently on tough driving tests he's going to bomb it down the middle when other guys can't get the ball in play. He's going to get it in play and go from there. That's just not going to be the edge for him this week that it has been historically. So I will never, ever, ever, ever in a billion, trillion years say that Scotty can't win a tournament, but I just don't see it quite as clearly as I have in other events. Rory, we didn't see much Rory. He was obviously dealing with the divorce.
He didn't get to the course today, he said in his interview.
What?
He didn't get to the course today, he said in his interview.
Okay. So, Rory, we didn't see a lot of reps from Rory. I'm not interested in Rory at majors. That's always been my I've been out on Rory at majors forever or for a while, and it hasn't done me wrong yet. You have been a Rory guy in the majors. You've single beat him before. You love him at Augusta. It has not worked out for you. So I'll let you give your Rory takes because I just always say I'm out on Rory, and until he wins, I will not be changing my take.
Yeah, I think Rory is probably live favorite now. I think Rory is one, if not one, then two in live fave.
I will say also yes, he is technically second on the odds.
Outside of Scottie, there's a different live fave that we'll get to. So yeah, we didn't see much Rory today, but he talked about in his interview that he feels like he's never driven it better. He loves this new TaylorMade driver, and yeah, it's the course that makes sense for Rory. But I'm playing the numbers. I will bet against the golfer winning 3 straight tournaments and the same venue 10 years later. Like the odds, I just don't feel like they're in his favor to win when the stars are aligned so perfectly. And he said that the stars are aligning. It seems like too much to ask for. And wait till another major for Rory.
Let's hypothetical head-to-head between Scottie and Rory. Who do you like more?
I think we both like Rory, but let's make the odds.
Oh yeah, I mean obviously Scottie would be favored there.
No. Do you think Rory wins that matchup?
Even after everything I just said about Scottie, I will just always trust Scottie more.
Okay, then I would say I like Rory in that matchup. Minus 120. Rory minus 120.
Rory minus 120 against Scottie minus 120 against Rory.
All the way around. Scottie looked rough today.
You're making Rory a favorite over Scottie in a matchup.
Yeah.
All right. I would still, after everything I just about Scottie, I would nuke Scottie in that matchup. But I respect that, and we will see how that one plays out. We might have to actually post pod put a little money behind that just for a little extra action.
Yeah, let's do it.
On the pod. But I like that. All right, let's get to one of our favorite golfers to talk about. I know we've got people listening now to the pod who have not listened to any of our pods throughout the year. I didn't listen to our Masters pod when we really shit on Xander. Xander's a generational practice round player for a reason. I can't, when I go to any tournament now and I watch practice round, I just know that I'm not going to bet Xander because I know I'm going to get sucked in by how he looks, how he plays, and then you're going to go on data golf and it's going to be green. You're going to be drowning in green. You'll have never seen so much green. And I say my line for him is 18-1, and then I will consider it. I probably still won't bet him, but at 18, I will at least think about it. If he's below 18, I just watch Xander, and I appreciate how beautiful the golf is, but he's not under consideration for me. You have pulled the trigger on Xander Schauffele at 14-1 to win the PGA Championship.
It's perfect golf. He's a perfect golfer. You watch him in practice, you're like, how does this guy ever lose? And I got sucked in. I truthfully got sucked in, but I got sucked in because I didn't love anyone else. We were out here for 15 hours, 20 hours the last 3 days, and there were so many guys that did not look up to standard, truthfully. And we watched them for 3 straight days. One guy did, and it was Xander Schauffele. And I know the practice round. I know he's a generational practice round player. I know he's gutless. I've been betting this man all season long, losing on him all season long. I'm going to give him one more go. Top 5 or better or blacklist for the rest of the season.
So we spent most of the day with me trying to talk Jerry out of doing this. We did. So we talked, BK and I, Brian Kirshner, for those who don't know what we're talking about. We talked Matt out. He cashed out Xander last week before the tournament because we told him not to bet him. Turned out to be a great call. Almost regretted it. Did not. So I spent most of today trying to do the same thing. You're committed to it. But then ever since you've placed that, you've been starting to kind of say those things like, if he doesn't do this, he's blacklisted or whatever. We'll see. We will see how it goes. I can't deny that he looks like the sharp. No, actually, no. Because let's get to the next golfer, because this is the bigger problem that I have with the Xander bet. Because I'm upset too, Brian. At least you're through the chat. I have to sit here and I've had to talk to him about it the whole time, trying to talk him out of it. But my biggest issue with it actually isn't anything about betting Xander at 14-1. It's because the next guy on this list, it's 16-1, a 5-time major champion who wins the PGA Championship for fun, looked just as good as Xander. The 2 best players on the course to me were Xander and Brooks. I didn't come into the week thinking that I was going to love Brooks as much as I ended up him at this point. I'm not betting Brooks either. I am going further down the board. I think this is a week where it's kind of more open. I wanted to have more guys on the card. But I guess that's my question. Why
not?
are you going with 14-1 Xander when we saw both Xander and Brooks? Brooks didn't miss any shots and Xander didn't miss any shots.
Right.
What do you think this week put Xander ahead of Brooks to win the tournament?
Okay, great question. For 2 reasons. I think Xander's time is coming. I will like Xander keeps saying, I gotta keep putting myself in position. I gotta keep giving myself reps, keep giving myself a chances. I think he said, keep knocking on the door. Xander keeps knocking on the door. I think he will break through. Also, I just simply do not think, call me a LIV hater, I do not think a LIV player is winning this major. I didn't think it last major. I didn't think it every major last year. I was wrong once. I could be wrong again. I'm just going to bet against these LIV guys who are not playing serious golf courses or serious tests on a weekly basis to come in with 3 days of prep and win. I mean, sure, they're John Rahm, Brooks Koepka, Taylor Gooch are the three of the best players in the world, but they're not playing every single week. And I have nothing against the LIV fields. I'm saying the golf courses in general. We're getting to minus 22 in 3 days and LIV sometimes. And this is a serious golf course test. Maybe it's not actually. Maybe it's not a serious golf course test this week. But you know what I'm saying. I just think Xander is due, and I don't think a LIV player is winning. As simple as that.
All right, that's fair. And I will say before we get all the LIV haters in the comments, because somehow we always get the LIV haters, even though again we give LIV the most due. I think on a weekly basis, we cover it all the time. We like LIV. We were shouting out all the teams with Sting, you name it. We love the LIV guys, but that's been your take. That was your take at the Masters was where the LIV guy couldn't win. I started to buy into the take when I saw some of the LIV setups post Masters. And Nick's in the comments, and I agree with this. The reason I actually canceled out my LIV doesn't have a chance to take this week is because this isn't a serious golf course. And that's why I was like, the issue that I've had with LIV in the majors is Scottie's been playing so unbelievably well, and to match Scottie, you need reps on serious golf courses that you can get on the PGA Tour, but not necessarily on LIV. But I don't see that as Valhalla. So my favorite bet that I'm not making, or like my current most likely winner is Brooks. I think my most he's going to finish top 5 again guy is Xander.
Why don't you bet him?
I went a little further down the board.
Okay. Because you wanted to get more names because we saw guys.
I wanted to get more names. I maybe missed the best price on Brooks. If you got 20s, things like that, awesome. I'm sitting it out this time because I still don't think this isn't Oak Hill. At Oak Hill, the balls were not going to stay in the fairways. The fairways maybe were the same width. They're a little narrower, like these are wider, but the ball would land in the fairway, and you could not keep – every single player was going in the rough, and Brooks is huge. And Brooks can slap the ball out of the rough, and Brooks can just take advantage of things that other players can't. I just still think it's still not quite a Brooks course. He just looked the best to me of the guys at the top of the board, and so he's a 5-time major champion. So for me, he's the most likely to win it. I still just didn't feel good about going below 20-1 on my card. And where I ended up going was a guy that we thought for a while we were going to have to come on here and say we were seeing some troubling signs. That's Ludvig Aberg in his second major at 22-1. I've pulled the trigger. Yeah. But let's talk about what we saw from him this week. We did not see him on Monday. We didn't come across him. Tuesday, he was not playing the course. He was simply going around the course with his wedges and his putters and grinding around the green. So he wasn't hitting full shots, and we were concerned. We were going, what's going on here? Now, with that being said, he was walking fine. Nothing seemed wrong with him, but he just wasn't hitting full shots. Now, with that being said, he was grinding hard around the greens, like hard, an hour on every hole. Like we saw him the whole day because he was around the greens on the whole time. But then, so we were skeptical. We're like, let's go see what happens.
We were going to break the news that he's going to live withdraw. He was,
we thought we were going to say he was going to live withdraw. We go out there today. He's the first guy we see on the course. Yep. And I will say the model on Golf Top and Sarah's, go over there. That's where the best odds. That's where the model is. The model ranks are. You go on the detailed model on the paid site. He's ranked second. He makes sense at this course if he's healthy, obviously. He just finished second to the Masters. That's also great. He was flushing the ball.
Yeah.
Generational flusher of the ball. He did not miss a shot. Everything looked so good. The way he was hitting, we saw so many guys hit long irons. Obviously, it's long iron course. That's what it's all about. His ball flight on the long irons is the best that I saw. He hits it better than Brooks. Well, the one thing I've always thought is great about Brooks when you go to these big events, these tough golf courses is how high and impressive he can hit a 6-iron and a 5-iron and make it look like a 9-iron when it's coming down to the green. That's what Ludvig does. And also just some of the lines, like some of the shots he was taking off the tee, he just aims, instead of having to aim, 10 yards off the left rough when it's set, the goal is to get as tight to the left side as you can. He aims 1 yard off the left. It just hits it dead straight.
He's king. He's king. Aim it there, hit it there.
Yeah.
It's just a young stud in his near his prime. Like these guys, Rory, Jordan, Justin, when they come out, they're this age. They're just playing golf. They're just doing free balling it, and that's what Ludvig's doing. And I will say the prep with around the greens, there was 2 caddies grinding insanely hard this week. It was Joe Scavron, Ludvig's caddy, and Nick Pugh, Lucas Herbert's caddy.
Yeah. Herbert probably missing the cut by 10 shots, and his caddy's not going to get paid, but his caddy earned his keep this week.
Earned his keep. Him and Scavron were scouring the golf course, getting numbers, even when their players were in their hotel. Who knows where they were? Just on the course all day. So Ludvig looked fine, and he looks like he's taking the right precaution. Yeah. And he said in his interview last week was for precautionary reasons, and I'm sure Tuesday him just chipping was for precautionary reasons. He doesn't need many swings. He aims it there. He hits it there.
Yeah, and that's why I saw what I saw. The numbers backed it up, and then when I heard in his interview what he said as well, you would have no idea he was in, that he there was no signs to me that he was injured. I saw people saying that he had a big knee brace. I think he might have, but it wasn't even visual. I was too.
No, you could not tell. Maybe he wore it on Monday or Tuesday. We did not see it today.
Yeah, so I'm pulling the trigger on Ludvig. I'm going with the young Swede. I think also it's the PGA Championship. It's the one that a lot of guys break through in. It's a course that just he can just flush it out. And to your point on around the greens, from a statistical perspective, what kept Ludvig from winning the Masters was his around the green play. I think these are such easy around the green conditions. And then the final thing that kind of put me over the edge with him was, again, I shifted some of my focus from the approach to the putting, not a ton, but a little bit. I just know that Lud can fuck with the putter versus pretty much every guy else above him on the board. He's got the most upside with the putter. So if he gets it rolling from 15 feet, which he could give himself looks from.
Xander's a better putter than him.
Yeah, I think Xander's a more steady putter.
Yeah,
sure.
But upside.
But on upside, I'll see what Ludvig's
got. And the Torrey comp as well, a ton of long irons. If Ludvig made one putt at Torrey Pines, he would have won. He put horrifically there. I'm with you there. Obviously, I couldn't bet both Ludvig and Xander.
And I'll say Ludvig has only played bad when I bet him. So I would actually not advise listening to me on Ludvig, but I'm gonna go with the young Swede and see what happens. I tweeted about the Swedes also. Shout out to the Swedes. 7 Swedes in the field, and no one preps harder than the Swedes. And actually the Nordic golfers in general, because Nikolai was absolutely grinding, Rasmus, Vic, the Nordic golfers bring their focus to the max. So shout out to them. The guy who I guess he's right below him on the on board, it's Jon Rahm. He's 20-1. We saw Rahm a good amount, I would say. Yeah. Fine. I didn't. Yeah. It wasn't. The irons were lit. I actually saw him miss of the greens we saw him approach into. Probably missed as many as he hit. The iron play wasn't bad. The driving was good, and the putter's obviously bad on LIV. And I will say, and people who have listened to the stuff that we do before, is judging putting at practice rounds is the hardest thing to do because they don't spend a lot of time putting into the hole, except for Brooks, who only practices putting into the hole. Everybody else puts to these fake holes to practice. No, Brooks just walks over to the cup and just putts into it over and over again, which he's won 5 majors, so maybe some other people should do the same. But my take on Rahm was that I think a lot of people were saying 20-1 Rahm versus these other guys that hit him on the odds board, and they were just kind of going there because of the difference. I think the odds are fair. I would still have Xander behind Brooks just because Brooks is a major champion, but purely from how they looked plus their form, I think the odds are fair for the first 5 guys on the board.
Agree. And Rahm was one of the few guys we had strong takes about everyone we saw whoa or yeah. And Rahm was one of the guys that was fine. If you like him, okay. If you don't like him, okay. He didn't do anything great, didn't do anything amazing in these last 3 days. So no real Rahm takes for us, but go with your gut on Rahm, I would say.
Yeah, I totally agree. We don't have anything. Yeah, he just was. If you think Rahm at 20 major is a good number, which it is, go for it. You're looking for us to say he was striping it, playing amazing. It just was. The guy that we didn't see, and I think this maybe will be upsetting to people because I know he's popular in the betting markets. I'm sure he's popular in DFS. Bryson was nowhere to be found.
Too busy making Snapchats. He was not nowhere to be found.
We watched 70,000 steps over 3 days. We saw basically every golfer in the field multiple times in different areas of the property. The driving range at Valhalla is perfectly positioned where you can see the range in the putting green. I did not see him a single time.
We were literally arm's length away from a guy named Tiger Woods, a guy you can't get near, and we could not see Bryson for 3 days. It's got to be concerning. How did we not see Bryson?
Yeah, I'm not gonna like I would have loved to see it. First of all, I'm not necessarily gonna say it's concerning, but what I will say is I didn't come into the week loving Bryson. I like him when the driver's really going to matter and the putter is really going to matter. I don't like him when the iron play becomes such a crucial piece of the puzzle. Right. And so because of that, my baseline, I didn't see him. Like, obviously we didn't see him, so I couldn't like change my opinion on him. So like if I had to give a take, I would say like I'm not buying into mega popular Bryson.
Right.
But he's the one, obviously we want to give takes on the guys we saw. So that's like my least strong take. But that was my baseline coming in. I didn't see anything to change it. But what's your Bryson just stance?
I am a Bryson truther, a Bryson apologist. I am standing on the ledge of Bryson at Augusta. It nearly came to fruition a few weeks ago. I think this is a far worse golf course for him than Augusta was, even though the Caves Valley comp that I raved about.
What's the par for Bryson this week?
Oh, the par for Bryson. So what is it? We got 71. The par for Bryson. The par fives aren't reachable, and the par is 71 for Bryson.
Yeah, I agree.
100%. The par for Augusta for Bryson 67. Here 71.
The next, so that's a Bryson take. I know he's popular. I wish we literally spent all of today trying to find Bryson. We woke up this morning. We got to the course the second that it opened, and we said we're going to go find Bryson. And we couldn't quite do it.
Maybe 70 because hole number 4.
Yeah, he'll get near the green on 4. The next guy on the oddboard, Colin. I'm betting Colin, but not necessarily because I saw like some amazing things that Colin did.
No, you saw good things.
Yeah, he looked solid. Like it wasn't like he was bad. He just he was driving the ball immaculately. He's going to be in the fairway on every single hole. He's been putting and chipping so much better this year.
Yep.
And his iron play has been the thing that's been a little bit volatile. And people go, okay, you just said iron play is the thing you care about the most. And he's been struggling a little bit with the iron play. But he striped it at Augusta with the irons. If you look back at his major approach numbers over the last like 8 majors, almost every single one of them is phenomenal. And when he's there, he just cruises around the course with such a professionalism, I guess, to say, and like a focus that he's coming up with a game plan that's going to allow him to get into the mix at this event. And I just trust him to hit smart shots, work his way around. And it's 35-1. Again, I wanted to have more guys on the card this week. I just said, you know what, give me a call.
Yeah, and if you guys watched our player show, you might remember how we absolutely lit Colin Morikawa up. He looked like the most lost golfer at TPC Sawgrass. Completely opposite this, and it came to fruition. He played real poor at the Players. Here, he looked really solid. He looked like he was happy, laughing, hitting good shots, playing a money game with Minwoo.
Quick aside on that. This is why Colin is a multiple-time major champion, and Minwoo is just getting started career. They're clearly some sort of money game coming down the 10th fairway. It's Minwoo, Colin, Kurt, and Kazubu, the guy that who's in the matchup with Ryan Fox. Minwoo goes, Colin, are we playing Preferred Lies? And Colin looked at him as if he was speaking a foreign language. He was like, yo, no. Like, what? Absolutely not.
Like, so, what are you doing?
Shout out to Colin for that. That was sick. That made me like him a little bit more.
Give a nod to Stanford Steve too.
Oh yeah, Stanford Steve and SVP were following them. So somebody said you add 200,000 fans in your Morikawa models. That's a great point, actually. I decided I was going to bet him last night, and then I got to the course today, and I realized how many fans were going to be there, and I did.
There's going to be a lot of people.
I did start to question it. So I'm not of my bets. Colin is the one where I feel the least confident. It was more just like kind of numbers, kind of vibes. Kind of, it's a major and he's 35-1. I didn't really like any of the other numbers, but yes, the Colin 200,000 fans is a good take, and I support that take even though I'm going to be betting Colin. People asked a lot about Max. We got a lot of questions about Max. We didn't see much of him. He looked a little like frustrated on the putting green when we saw him. I feel like he's just going to finish T8 and kind of just be there, but I don't love him. We didn't, but these takes are not based on a lot of what we saw. He just.
Yeah, we saw him stripe a drive. He should be playing out of the fairway. He's a good long iron player. But yeah, we didn't see too much of him. But I don't see Max really contending in back-to-back majors after he's never contended in a major forever until recently. Max take.
To me, and I think you agree, the best player that we saw, the most consistent, he's from Chile.
Golfer.
I think to me, the guy who just. So, and I was going to say this a second ago. Some of these takes that we give, and how we saw guys and what we thought about them is we have we have context of having gone to other events and kind of seeing how they're like, because vibes do matter. Like we can only watch guys hit so many shots. We can only watch so many holes, but you can kind of tell when there's a guy who, like calling it players, who completely lost, like doing all these things with his coach, frustrated, slamming his clubs down, looking like he, like not even practicing the holes, just standing there pissed, versus walking around happy, smiling, giving people what's up. Like I've seen Neiman, because I love to watch Mito, who's not in the tournament, unfortunately. I love to watch Mito in the practice rounds. He's always playing with Jocko, and Jocko always looks like pissed and angry and not happy. He's playing by himself one day he was by himself, and the other day he was with somebody. He just looked good, and he did not miss a shot. He was making the game look comically easy, especially around the greens. Like he was dropping balls inside 75 yards.
I think just for fun, because he knows he's not going to need it.
Yeah. He also is hitting every green, but then he was just fucking around from 75 yards and in. The number of shots that he has, he would hit 5 balls from the same spot. One would be a one-stop spinner. Bam. The next one would look the exact same, except it would just keep rolling. And then he would do one that bounced 2-3 times. Like he just looked really confident on a lot of these tight lies around the greens. I worry about his putter, and obviously, like I just said, you don't get to see a lot of putting in the practice round. So that's my red flag with him as the plastic. I think he has putted well on bent in his career.
Yeah.
But I like Neiman this week. My biggest regret in previous boots on ground was at the U.S. Open at Brookline. The guy who just impressed me the most that I didn't actually believe could win but looked the best was Fitz. And obviously, as we've talked about many times, that's what happened to me with Wyndham at LACC. So I just can't miss out on Neiman. When I saw those things, I don't truly believe he's going to win. His major track record kind of speaks for itself. But
so did Wyndham's.
Yeah.
But so did Wyndham's. And you mentioned him being happy. He did look happy. And we gotta give a quick shout out to like what might be the greatest job in the world, being friends with the LIV there. We saw Cam Smith's crew, Joaquin Neiman's crew. I'm not sure how close you saw Taylor Gooch's crew. These LIV players we're all playing alone for the most part, and just have a contingency of people just walking around with them for vibes. And they all probably have a role, and they're all probably getting paid $100,000 to just be around.
Our new life goal, if the pod ends and you never hear from us ever again, it's because we have joined somebody on LIV's crew, because it seems I can't think of a better job than being in like Cam Smith's crew.
Walking around in Ripper GC hats. And who knows what these people do. Joaquin Neiman had 8 people wearing Tourquet gear, his caddy, someone else was working on the greens, and then the 5 other guys were just bros, just chilling.
And I would actually say there's because
dressed nicely, dressed like in suit, they were.
I'm actually surprised that more players haven't gone. Like obviously, a good chunk of players have gone to LIV. Being on LIV and the crews that these guys have, the pure amount of money that they clearly have versus the other players, it is noticeable in the practice rounds. It is so clear. Like the fact that other players of good players, let's say a Colin, have been able to say no to that. Even more shout out to them than I know they've already gotten tons of shout outs for turning down LIV, but the vibes look immaculate. If I was a professional golfer who was sick and could make $200 million and then just have my boys hang out with me, I hate to say that I probably would roll with that. I think we've lost Matt. We still have me. Just refresh your Wi-Fi. But I think they can probably still hear you. So all right. So that's our Jocko. That's our LIV. Jersey's working on his thing. I think everybody else can still hear us. Windy. I'll talk about Wyndham because I saw quite the interesting situation with Mr. Wyndham Clark, a guy who I saw at LACC, flushing it. I feel like I've got an eye for Wyndham. I've seen it. I got to the course really early on Monday morning. I've seen Wyndham at the course since then. The man has been trying to find what went wrong last week at Wells. He goes to the 5th tee. He's up his driver and nukes a driver. And I stopped in my tracks because my flashback instantly went to what I saw at LACC, and I went, oh my God, 45-1 Wyndham Clark. I'm just going to bet him. And so I was like, all right, but I need to watch him. I need to watch him for a few holes. We get to he walks another 30 yards forward to the ladies' tee, stops and drops the ball down. I've never seen this in my entire life in any practice round. And I was like, what is happening? He drops the ball down, pulls an iron out of his bag, let's call it a 7-iron, and just whacks it. And his caddy looks at him Like, what are you doing? And he goes, just trying to get my feels back. And his caddy stops, looks at him and goes, dude, why are you freaking out? And Wyndham turns to him and goes, hold on just a second. You're good. All right. Sorry. We're working through some technical difficulty. If you're listening to the pod, there we go. All right,
We're back.
We're back. We do need to bring back the one back, Mike Nick. That's a good call. But so Wyndham hits this. The caddy goes, why are you freaking out? And Wyndham goes, I'm not freaking out. I'm just getting my feels back. And so now I'm like, okay, what's going on here? I know his iron play numbers have been bad since they were good at it for the last 3 weeks. His iron play numbers have been bad. So I was like, I need to keep monitoring the situation. So he goes up into the fairway, hits an okay iron shot, not great, not bad. Hits another ball, just again, not looking comfortable with the irons. I'm starting to get a little. Now I'm not down anymore because of this weird situation that's going on. He then goes to the 6th tee, and if you guys remember, the 6th tee is my litmus test. You have to hit the fairway to be have the potential to be on the card. He missed it left as far
25 yards.
It was a safety hazard shot. As far left of a shot as I think I saw anyone on the property hit the whole time. And at that point, I was out on Wyndham.
Yeah, he seemed to not know when to take his medicine. That was clearly, he's one of the longer players in the field. Not a driver for him, not a driver for a lot of guys. Ripped a driver, not sure if he was trying to just ease it out there, but it was a dead pull. And then he eventually put his ball into the middle of the fairway. It's still a 215-yard iron shot or more because it's a layup hole. You have to hit it there. And he failed to hit the green on 3 straight shots. One was pulled, one was short, and I think another one was pulled. The iron play has been bad, and our eyes confirmed the bad iron play.
Yeah, and he did. So he's trying to get the feels back. They're not back. He's obviously been grinding this week. So I ended up being out on Wyndham. The driver looks sick. I'm never going to doubt Wyndham. I think the price is totally fair. Like, I'm not saying don't bet Wyndham. I'm just telling you what I saw, and you can assess from there. But I got excited about Wyndham. Didn't end up getting there. All right, there's a guy that I'm sure people will be interested in. Viktor Hovland. Victor, someone's in the comments saying I'm going to be upset if Cam Young missed the 6th fairway. Yeah, you should be. If your guy misses the 6th fairway,
will
be upset. We saw Vic. Well, so we did see Vic for a long time. He was clearly grinding on the range. We didn't see him out on the course. We saw him finally out on the course with Dustin Johnson, one of the last pairings that we saw today. And the first thing we watched him do was chip, which is, I'm sure people are interested in how did the chipping look. And Jers, it was the worst chipping I saw of any player on the course. We saw out. And the reason I have a comparison for that is he was chipping from this one spot in front of the first screen where you kind of need to go up and over the corner of this bunker where there's a potential, there's no pin there during the practice, but they know there's going to be one. We saw so many guys practicing that pitch shot. And because it's such easy chipping conditions, a lot of guys were getting it up, like just hitting it to where the pin was going to be. They'd have like 5-foot par putts. Vic was not. And okay, short game Vic, whatever. You know it's not going to be great. You got to strip. We move on to the next tee. Him playing with Dustin Johnson, which we could just get to Dustin Johnson after Vic because it's more of the same. Does not look like himself. You said he just looks a lot skinnier. And he doesn't look. There's something that just looked weird about.
Something looked weird with Vic, and we know it's been a mess this year. We know he was bet to 16-1 in December to win this event. He was guaranteed to win at Valhalla. And I was considering him at 55-1 until I saw him today. Simply doesn't look the same. He just doesn't. He doesn't look like he's ready.
And I saw some tweets. I can't remember who did it. Shout out to them. Sounds like he's still in the range grinding. So I saw he's back with Joe Mayo. Yeah. I'm out on Vic this week. He's another guy like Wyndham where it's such like 50-1. I don't think it's a bad bet. If somehow, some way he finds his game by tomorrow and he gets into the mix, we know he's got the dog. We know he can play the PGAs. I just didn't see what I would have needed to see, which was some noticeable difference in his game. We saw him at the Players grinding. We saw him we weren't at the Masters, but on a lot of the coverage he was grinding. So for me, Vic nothing has changed for Vic, I don't think, versus how I felt about him coming into the week. So I'm still out, but we'll monitor the situation going forward. And I still think I even said to you, he's a smart enough player. He knows how to play PGAs. I don't think he's going to miss the cut or shoot 80 or do something terrible. I just still don't think 50 was enough for me. And then, on DJ was the worst player we saw this week. I know a lot of people have talked about him drifting to 90, 100-1. Again, maybe he figures it out. He did my deepest dark red flag that you can possibly do during practice rounds is play the course in the morning and then play the course again in the afternoon. No one does that who is playing good golf. DJ did that today. Him and Vic were out there this afternoon, and we better figure this shit out as fast as possible. Duo going off one of the last groups.
I don't think I saw DJ hit a fairway or
the green.
And we saw him a lot.
If any player we can say played bad, it was DJ. Hopefully, you can figure it out. I like DJ. Cantlay. I think. And now we're into the guys where like. I think we wanted to talk as much as we could about the big names.
Yeah,
that's
we'll touch on the names.
And I will say on the site, vincerics.com, we've written up over 100 golfers.
Yeah,
like we wrote up
everything
we saw to let people then assess what they want to do. So if there's people asking in the comments, we'll try our best to get to them. We'll go for an hour and a half. So we'll stick this out for a while longer, but there's going to be guys that we just can't get to because it'd be impossible. Cantlay, it was classic Cantlay. We like this course for Cantlay, right? Like coming into the week, you really liked it.
Yeah, coming into the week, I could not imagine like a better golf course for Patrick Cantlay in terms of comp courses, in terms of what the course actually presents. And you got there a little bit earlier than I did on Monday, and you said Cantlay looked awesome, and then I saw him a little bit on Monday, looked awesome. Tuesday was a different story. He looked real bad, missing iron shots long left, missing iron shots short right. And then today, so we were like Cantlay bad yesterday, or good Monday, bad yesterday. Today could be the moment of truth. It's a good number, great golf course. If Cantlay shows us something today, I'm in. He's playing with Xander on number 1. Iron shot looks very uncomfortable, sounds very clunky. It's long left, not a good shot.
Yeah, I'll even say it like when Xander hits the ball, it sounds like a soft pillow. And I would say when you see really good iron players and they hit it, it just looks like I don't even know how to describe it. There was an audible difference between Cantlay's long iron shots and Xander.
Yes. So then it's whatever. We're pissed at Pat fairly quick. We venture off and we circle back, and then we see Xander again, and we're like, "Where the hell is Pat?" Pat quit playing with Xander early.
And I will say we don't know when he walked off, but they were started the practice round together, and by the time we found Xander again, Cantlay was not on the course. So we don't know what happened, but we didn't love that.
Yeah. So clearly Cantlay. I mean, he hasn't been great. So why would I think that he figures it out here, even though the course does make sense? I will say he's not really kind of going under the radar on the golf course. Makes a ton of sense. He's flash. He's like you said, you think he's going to have 2 good rounds, 2 bad rounds. He's kind of been doing that all season long.
Yeah, I think he could be first round leader and then finish T32. Like, I think he's going to play 2 rounds where it's like, that was really good. And I think he's got 2 rounds where it's just off. There's just not consistency in his game like there has been last year. But yeah, kind of weird stuff from Cantlay this week. A guy that this was the first guy that we decided to bet.
You might leave this podcast after you hear this next name.
Yeah. We decided that at 50-1, our first bet of the week, Mr. Tommy Fleetwood. Mr. Tommy Fleetwood was flushing the golf ball, which is not surprising, I'd say. He's a flusher of the golf ball. But it was less, I think, about what we saw, because he did hit every shot great. He was playing with – somebody asked about Lowry. Lowry was flushing, but not flushing as much as Fleetwood. They're playing with Rahm. And I would say Fleetwood, Rahm, and Lowry.
And Padraig.
And Padraig, who might have actually been worse than – actually, Padraig was the worst player that we saw.
Yeah.
I heard there was a Phil versus Padraig bet for, senior. I can't advise betting that period, but I would lean Phil in that matchup. Why did we bet Tommy? Actually, now that I think
why did we bet Tommy? So we talked about ahead of this pod how you don't need to be a bomber. You need to be plus in distance. You need to be a great long iron player. And then from there, go make birdies. Have a manageable short game. That's exactly what Tommy Fleetwood is. And yeah, he's a generational non-loser. Then we look at his stats. We look at his finishes. And I'm the first one to say he's the king backdoorer. He's the king gutless. But he's got 4 top 5s in his last 8 major championships. You said if you looked at that profile and it didn't see a name, Tommy Fleetwood at 50-1, everyone would bet it. We did it.
Yeah. And that ultimately to me was kind of like, he obviously looked good. I think it's a good course for Tommy. Like, this is a weird comp that I don't totally know if it's true or not, but I like this course versus some of the courses in the Middle East where it's kind of easy driving conditions, but they're still long. You still have to hit good golf shots into the greens. Yeah. The Scream League's not too difficult. Obviously, Tommy always fucks in the Middle East. Someone else reminded me of the Nedbank comp. The Max also won there. It's the tournament they play down in South Africa. That's the course 7,800 yards, trees, kind of tough. If you looked at Tommy's finishes in the majors over the last few years, you look at how he's playing, you looked at how he played at Augusta, you would say this is not a 50-1 golfer. So I think there's enough baked into that 50-1 where I pulled the trigger, but I do not feel good about it. I do not think he's going to win. So you also bet Cam Young. How do you feel about having Xander?
Once you guys see my betting card, it's one of the least win equity I think you could imagine.
How do you feel about going into a major championship with a card that starts with Xander, Tommy Fleetwood, and Cameron Young?
I'm the underdog. I am the underdog. I get different, and I'm getting different this week. Will it pay off? Maybe. We'll see. I got a bunch of. Brian, I knew Brian was going to say. Yeah, I'm getting different. But the funny thing about Tommy is he was the consensus first bet, no matter what. Like, we both were like, yeah, Tommy. Like, it was a no-brainer. He was the first. And we took so long to land on our cards, and Tommy Fleetwood was the first guy we were like, we're betting him without a doubt.
We're going to jump around now because we've gone down a reasonable amount on the board. We're just going to talk about guys that we have stories about. The first one we need to start, we're going to get to Dunlap in a second. Nick just commented about Dunlap, and I need at least 5 minutes to talk about Dunlap, and maybe more. The rest of the pod might be Dunlap specific, but we need to talk about a guy named Sahith Theegala because he is one of our favorite golfers. We bet him all the time. We love to watch him play. We love everything about Teagues in his game. We saw him today at the course, not looking good at all.
Looking good.
His putting was weird. He had a new putter. He was driving it off the planet. All bad things from Teagues. And we said, because you were going to bet Teagues. You came to the course saying I was going to bet Teagues. And
he was my most excited person to see. I was like, I need to see Theegala. I think I'm going to bet him at, 85 to 1, 75 to 1.
We were going to bet Teagues. We wanted to see him. We decided not to based on what we saw. And it was pretty like we very quickly were like, I don't like what we're seeing here. You then went to LA Fitness, hit the gym, and Carl, his caddy, came up to you. You did not come up to him. He came up to you, and you guys talked. And you told me you were going to save what you found out for the pod, so I don't even know what you're about to say. You had a personal conversation at the local LA Fitness with Carl, Teagues' caddy, and we're all ready to hear what you found out.
So if you've ever seen Carl Smith before, he's a pretty jacked dude, and I always wondered how he got so in shape, and clearly he goes to the gym while he's caddying.
And I will say we can skip over what workouts he was doing.
Yeah,
we cut to what you found out from him.
So I texted Adam as soon as he got in the gym. I was like, Carl Smith is in the gym. I wasn't gonna really go up to him or say anything. I just wanted to let him be. And we were near each other, and he mentioned to me, he's like, I like your tattoos, dude. He's just the most like California, like Cali bro ever, just that type of vibe. And I was like, thanks, Carl. Good luck this week. And he was like, oh shit. Like, he was caught off guard that I knew who he was. And then we started talking. I was like, how do you guys feel this week? He said, feel good. Then I asked him, I said, new putter? Like, you guys have a new putter? And he was like, so about this, Sahith does this thing that he likes to do on a weekly basis. Every single week, he putts with a random putter, and to make himself feel weird, by the time he gets his new putter, he's like, it feels like home. And that is so on brand for Sahith, a golfer who if you know anything about Sahith, he purposely hits shanks in his practice round to feel what it's like. So we knew it was a different putter because we know.
And he wasn't even putting like there was something. No, like he wasn't putting how he normally puts. Like, it looked weird, but you're telling me we can completely remove that from the equation?
Completely remove that from the equation. So
I wish I would have known that.
He did hit the ball bad though.
Yeah, but I was gonna say I was out on Teagues. I officially am back in on Teagues. It's too late for me to get him on the card, but that is some incredibly valuable information.
Yeah, so I was absolutely shocked when he said that. He was like, "Yeah, he gets his new putter that he said he's had this putter for 8 years, and once he feels it after he's putted with a random putter, it feels like home." So great insight from Carl Smith.
That's sick. And we were talking about how unserious Teagues is a golfer based on what he was doing in the practice round.
It looked so like Jesper Svensson was absolutely lapping him on the putting greens and around the greens.
Low Swede market. Jesper Svensson. You gotta get a look at it.
Because Teagues looked like he was like just hitting jokes of putts on the greens. I was like, what is this guy doing?
He literally was joking around.
And now it makes sense.
Okay, that is flabbergasting.
I knew you'd like it.
That is, I don't even know what to say. Wow, that is something. Well, we're gonna save Nick Dunlap for the end. We're gonna save Nick for the end because it's, first of all, it's a serious take, but it's also joking. I don't want people to go house bet Dunlap, even though I have, and I've got him down for 8 to 10 majors in his career. I think this is actually a serious take. If you took every player in the field right now, we start today. Today is the first day of the rest of our lives. Nick Dunlap will win the most majors of anyone in this field from today forward. I mean, that's a serious.
The confidence, the swagger, it is.
We got to do Dunlap. We got to do Dunlap.
Right? We got to do Dunlap.
We obviously, Dunlap is a player who showed up to the U.S. Amateur as a heavy favorite and won the U.S. Amateur. No one does that besides like Tiger. it's really, really hard to win the U.S. Amateur no matter how good at golf you are.
Yeah.
He did that. Guy fucks. Then he goes and wins on the PGA Tour as an amateur. So we've got something special going here. He then comes out on tour, struggles his first few starts, which he was probably like, holy fuck, I'm on the PGA Tour. This is insane. So we can cut him some slack there. And now if you look at his stats, he's been steadying out. He's been starting to look good. He gained 2 strokes per round on approach at Augusta in his first start. He missed the cut, but that's okay. Lots of guys missed the cut in their first start at Augusta. This take doesn't have a lot to do with what we saw from him hitting the ball necessarily.
Which was also great.
The dude oozes confidence, and he spent most of the time either with Xander or next to Scottie, and he was kind of making it look like, I'm here to beat you guys. Yeah. I want to get as close to you as possible so I can learn everything it takes to be great, and I'm going to beat you. He was next to Scottie on the range. He was next to Xander on the course. It's hard to describe, but just the way he was like talking to those guys was not like, oh, wow, I'm so impressed by these guys. It's like, I'm here to make shit happen. Yeah,
and it's like the way he was carrying himself around the golf course. He was taking his time on the putting greens when there was big names behind him. Just so much confidence, and he just looked like, and I personally, if you've been listening to me and Adam for a while, I've shit on Dunlap for a while. I'm like, this guy's unserious. You don't play this guy. If you would have told me on Sunday, one of the first handful of guys you're going to bet after being at Valhalla for a few weeks was Nick Dunlap, I would have laughed in your face. Is Nick Dunlap going to win the PGA Championship? Probably not. He's 400.
He's 400. He's going like, and this is why like my take about Dunlap is less about this week, where I do think he can play quite well. He leads the PGA Tour in birdie or better, 200 plus. It's Dunlap, Scottie, Rory. It's an insane stat.
Yeah, and
it's also just to me a sign of what he's going to be as a player when he's 20 years old. He's supposed to be playing in the NCAA regionals right now. Right. He's playing in the PGA Championship. There's other things too where it's like most guys in the practice rounds kind of bow down to like, if Scottie's in the group behind him, they don't wait on the green in front. They get the fuck out of the way.
Right.
If Scottie's in front of them, they let him do whatever he wants. Dunlap took his time. He doesn't care. He knows that he's one of the best players there. I just loved the vibe from him, and you combine that with what he's done as a player. I am officially going to be betting Dunlap forever. He's officially my guy. I'm in on Dunlap. I love him.
I could tell, and I could truthfully tell a difference in his like just swagger and the way he walks from February, because I was on the range at Cognizant just watching him hit shots. I was just impressed by his like sheer size. He's a really big guy. Like he doesn't look like a golfer, and he just looked like he was like didn't want to talk to anyone, was just doing his own thing. Completely different. The confidence level, and that's showing in his recent results. Like he's ball striking it, he's hitting those long irons great, and he's a bomber. And this course is so straightforward. Our take with Nick Dunlap is, you don't want him on nuanced golf courses, which can change soon. He's still so young. But if you look at his results, he's played really bad on golf courses that are, you got to think. They're very precise. You got to, like the Augusta, Pebble Beach. This Valhalla there's zero nuance around the green. You can get up and down from virtually anywhere. And every shot from the fairway to the green is so in front of you, screams Nick Dunlap.
Yeah. So
400 was a no-brainer.
Yeah. We've seen guys win early in their careers, majors. A lot of guys pick up a lot of their majors earlier in their careers. Is Nick Dunlap going to win at 400 to 1? Absolutely not. Is he going to make the cut? I don't know. Maybe not. Probably not. But give me 400 to 1 Dunlap into perpetuity. The guy just screams confidence. He's got game. Like it wasn't, and we said this isn't all about the shots. He also hit pretty much every shot perfectly. Good long iron player. Looked like he's just in complete control of his golf ball, and he's a good putter. So I like Dunlap.
Just think of a young golfer. Like Nick Dunlap's profile. He wins a U.S. Amateur. He gets on tour, wins at an amateur.
Why is he 400 to 1?
And then he breaks through and wins his first major. Like Colin Morikawa wins an alternate event, breaks through, wins his first major. If JT Jordan wins early. If Nick Dunlap won at 400 to 1, wins the major, and you look at his profile, like, oh, he won a U.S. Amateur. Oh, he won on tour as an amateur. You'd be like, why wasn't I on this guy at 400 to 1? And I've never bet Nick Dunlap. And I'm thinking all this. I'm like, why
at the end of the day, any guy at 400 to 1, even if you have like a small inkling that you like him, you don't really have to defend that take. So Dunlap, he's on our card. He'll be on my card in perpetuity.
My favorite.
Yeah, up there. It's Scottie Dunlap. Get him on all your dual forecasts. You gotta get him up there in the dual forecast. More swag than Goddard? Yes, actually. So
what they say?
Somebody asked more swag than Goddard. We'll get back to the list of golf. We're going to fly through the list of golfers here in a second.
Unbelievable question.
We do need to talk about Goddard.
1-2.
I was standing on the 15th tee and you were kind of off to the side behind me. And there was these two guys from Louisville next to me, and it was Goddard, and he was playing with a few other guys. I can't remember exactly. Hatton, he was playing with Hatton. I think
And
Hatton was
Eckler.
trying to recruit him to Legion 13. We saw actually a lot of LIV guys playing with guys where I was like, is this recruitment? Are we bringing these guys? We spent a reasonable amount of time concocting trades in our head for the LIV teams based on what we saw out there. But Goddard steps up to the tee. The guy is unbuttoned glove, shirt untucked, and these Louisville guys next to me go, who is this guy? Is this
one of their buddies?
One of their buddies just teeing it up for fun? Because that's how it looked. He steps up and rips a drive. Like, easily the most impressive drive I saw of anybody. It's twice as high as anybody else's drive and just nuked. And I was laughing so hard. First of all, because these guys were saying that. And then I turned to you and you're just looking at me like, that's Goddard. So, more swag than Goddard. More confidence, I would say, than Goddard, but not more swag than Goddard, if that makes sense. All right, back to the list. We're going to fly through these names. JT. Why do you like JT? Because I didn't like what I saw from JT, honestly.
JT, I was kind of in the camp with Rahm for me. He didn't do anything crazy good. He didn't do anything crazy bad. It was more of just a numbers thing. I wanted to get down the board. I've been betting JT so much. I pulled the trigger. He was truthfully the last guy I bet. I had just enough room for one more guy, and I didn't love anyone else. Louisville narrative, and he's coming in a lot lesser owned than I thought. And we're on a golf course that you need to hit a ton of long irons. There's not many golfers in the world that I want to hit a ton of long irons than Justin Thomas when they're at their best. Is he at his best? No, but 55-1, a PGA champion killer. I'm down.
Yeah. I agree. Good price. Hatton. I have Hatton as the most guaranteed T18 that's ever existed. That absolute.
Yeah, so solid.
Sam Burns has never hit a fairway in a practice round that I've seen, and until then, I can't support my guy. Minwoo, not a links course, and I didn't see a lot that I loved. I'm trying to see. Oh, Hideki. We need to talk about Hideki because we saw Hideki on Monday. We talked about this on Monday. Caddying effectively for Rio. He wasn't actually hitting shots. And then I can report we did not see Hideki. Again, we can only be in one spot. This course is fucking massive. So I'm not saying Hideki didn't practice. I'm not saying he didn't look fine. I'm just saying we saw Hideki not playing golf and caddying, and we never saw him again.
Yeah, Hideki was walking around with Rio having a grand old time. Them two were laughing in between every single shot. And this is the second time we've seen Rio and Hideki playing together. Definitely boys, strokes gained Japan. But Hideki was not taking any full swings, and he was only chipping around the green and putting, and the putting wasn't great from what we saw. But Hideki at 75-1, I think is a great.
If Hideki shows up healthy tomorrow, 75-1 is one of the greatest opportunities that has existed in the history of betting, because this course he could fuck at this course so hard,
so easily too.
But we saw him not playing, and then we never saw him again. So I can't say anything too confidently about him. Will Zalatoris is your guy.
Yeah, Will Zalatoris is my guy.
And you were very unimpressed by what you saw.
Very unimpressed. We were looking for Will Zalatoris. We stumbled upon him. And we're like, okay, we got to lock in. It's Will Z time. He was on hole number 13, which is the flagship hole of Valhalla, shorter par 4 with the waterfall.
Missing the fairway on 13 is a 1,000 times worse sin than missing the fairway on 6, because you're hitting like an iron or if you're crazy, you'd hit a 3-wood. But what did Will hit?
So Will Zalatoris on the sea, he pulls a driver. Adam and I are like, okay,
we thought he was about to do something sick.
We thought he was going to. Is he driving? Is he going for the green? Is he trying to just ease one out there? Even if he eases one out there, he's not going to. Is going to be in the water?
No one's hitting driver on this hole. Zero people.
Truthfully, people are hitting. The guy he was playing with was like a club pro hitting an iron.
Yeah.
So Zalatoris hits a driver 25 yards right in the hazard.
It flew the line of where you were supposed to hit the ball, like 30 yards. And for me, it's like one of the things I always value Zal in the practice rounds is he's one of the most like focused and like intelligent players. That to me was just like, yo, what's going on here? What is everything okay? And what I was gonna say was with Zal, I think it was true of DJ, maybe other guys, because again, we can't get to everybody, but most of the guys that I saw their numbers being like, wow, that is an insane number, and they were drifting. None of them were like, I need to get in on this. They looked like how the
and it wasn't even like it was like okay, like it was like straight up no. Like I don't care if he's 200-1, this guy has no chance. And also Zalatoris came back and hit a 3-wood, which is also questionable but doable. He hit these balls. And when you play with your friends, you play with an amateur, they hit a high shot that just catches the wind and just spins right or left, depending on if they're slicing it. Professional golfers don't put side spin on the ball too much, especially not Will Zalatoris. This ball ballooned in the air and just got the wind and just
the wind feasted on it. And I've never seen that from Zal. This clean,
straight, knuckly BB like most golfers do. That means he's just not hitting it solid.
Somebody asked about Rye. I wanted to bet Rye. I have a rule though with Rye that even if I only see him hit one shot and it's a missed fairway, I'm out. I saw him hit one shot. It was a missed fairway.
Yeah, Rye can't be missing fairways.
On Rye.
But he can fuck for sure.
I mean, it makes sense for Rye. He's a good long iron player. The 2 gloves is going to be incredibly useful in the rain. I like Rye, but I had to instantly be off of him. But I only saw him hit one shot. So take that for what it's worth. But that's my rule with Rye. People, I'm scrolling back through. So now I would say if you have people you have questions about, fire them up because we're just kind of going through. I saw somebody asked about Big Tone. We wanted to like Big Tone because we were saying who's good on Big Tone or who's good on an easy bent course.
Big Tone
wasn't that dialed.
And he hasn't been dialed for 2024. I gave the take, I think last week, that Tone doesn't care about professional golf anymore. He's too focused on his massive family and getting his younger son to the junior golf rankings. And he just looks like he is not focused and is not dialed and is not giving his best effort.
Let's talk about Yegs. BK is asking about Yegs.
He's top 3 in swag.
Yeah, the swagger rankings are Scottie, and it's because not like Scottie has like this crazy swagger. It's just like Scottie knows he's going to win. So except he's not going to win this week. Kurt, we'll talk about Kurt in a second. Okay. Yegs, you can't go to a practice round and not bet Yegs because it's like if you didn't know anything about golf at all and you just walked around and you're like watching golf, you'd be like, this guy obviously wins every tournament. like why do they even play? This guy has the most swagger. He tosses his ball down. If it's on a driver, he's not teeing it up. He's throwing it on the ground, and within 1 second, it's an absolute piss missile right down the middle.
Waste no time.
When he does tee up the driver, it's absolutely nuked. He's obviously the only guy who's beaten Scottie like in months. I think that speaks for itself. Stevie Yegs, swagger to infinity. We have no choice but to be on Stevie Yegs.
Collar popped, ripping driver. He's gonna hit fairways. Long iron play is hit or miss, but it's good. 150 to 1. You're giving us that upside. There's one golfer who's beat Scottie Scheffler since February. His name is Stephen Yegs.
Keith Mitchell. We didn't see much Keith actually hitting shots. What I did see from him looked unserious, and that was my take on him. My take on Mitchell, I don't know the exact ownership salaries. Again, I'm just basing this. I saw the odds were in the ballpark. Just give me Corey Connors. He's just a better version of the ball striking you're going to get from Keith Mitchell.
Yeah, and we both want Keith Mitchell when driving is so important, and it's just so minimized here. Although he is hitting his irons well, Keith Mitchell at the core is not like a generational long iron player. Should we talk about Corey Connors?
Yeah, I know you like Corey. I really like Corey. I love Corey in all majors. He's a flusher machine. I think he's up there with a guy who just hit every shot perfectly that we saw. Yeah, when I shifted my focus to the putter, that was the end of the road for me with Connors. I really like Connors at Oak Hill because I had ball striking off the charts, and I didn't care if you were good at putting. I care if you're good at putting this time. But you like him.
I like him just as much as you. He's going to give himself 15 to 20 feet on more holes than 90% of the golfers in this field. From there, it comes down to who's going to make the most of those putts. And at the end of the day, it's not going to be minus 20. But Corey Connors is a liability with the putter. He has not lost strokes ball striking since August. I think it was the FedEx. He lost strokes ball striking, and he's just been so dialed, coming off his best ball striking week. And he's just a guy who just hits every fairway, hits every green, and these greens are you're getting 20 feet on every green.
If Connors missed the cut, I would be.
He'd be maybe most shocked missed the cut.
It would be flabbergasting. So we like Connors. All right, let's fly through these and then we'll think of some more. All right, here we go. Kitayama, the worst player on the course outside of DJ and Patrick.
Yeah. He was
it was so unserious.
Didn't hit any fairways.
And we wanted to like Kurt. We wanted to like Kurt, but we have to report it was ugly.
In the rough, short of a bunker, tries to hit the green. There's a creek running up the right of the green, and he hits it on the opposite side of the creek. Drops the ball down, hits it in the water. That was Monday. And then talk about what he did today.
He So 10 is a really long par 5. He was with Minwoo and Colin in the money match when Minwoo wanted to play
I hope
left
they were
clean in
playing with
place.
Kurt because they would have robbed him.
Whoever was matched up, you do not want to be on Kurt's team in today's match. You can't really get to the green in 2 unless you absolutely nuke the ball. Everybody was, even Minwoo was like not trying to go for the green.
Yeah.
Kurt waits for the green to clear
From the rough.
And then comes not even in a million years would he have gotten anywhere the green. It's way right. It's in the rough. So I just, first of all, Kurt wasn't hitting it good. The decisions he was making were weird. It
was like moping around.
I like Kurt. I think all the stats would make sense for Kurt. So, and again, I said this at the beginning of the pod. I know there's probably people joining in right now. We're giving you what we saw to add context to all the other information that you should be considering when you're placing a bet, whether it's the odds, obviously, or do you think they're good odds, the data, the models, your gut, we're giving you one piece of information. We did not at all like what we saw from Kurt, but if I wasn't here at the course, I would love Kurt. So I take that for what it's worth. P. Reed, I couldn't hit the fairway.
Couldn't hit the fairway. Good caddy.
Fox, nothing of note. Grinding short game.
Grinding downhill chips.
Yeah. No one has practiced more downhill chips out of the rough than Fox.
Yeah, but so I don't know why he was grinding short game so hard. He should be hitting fairways and she should be all right.
Fox is our guy. We like Fox. Spieth. We saw Spieth's iron play stats have been so bad. And we saw Jordan Spieth having irons that were so bad.
Yeah, he was not dialed.
One of who looked dialed, though, was Greller. Greller was dialed. So Greller should be able to, if Spieth hops on Greller's back, he could maybe get like a top 20, but I think I'm good on Spieth. Yeah, this is a good one. Cam Smith, he's a guy who's always higher up on the board. We probably kind of skipped over him. This is not a Cam Smith course, I will say.
Yeah.
But we started to have an opinion that there's going to be a few guys who simply just scramble their asses off and get into the mix because the up and downs is so easy. That
he will chip in multiple times this
it's
week.
Not the main profile that we're after, but so you go first. Cam looked fine. He missed a few long iron shots. He didn't look
gonna miss a few long iron shots,
but
looked like he was driving to the right. Looked a little bit more comfortable over the driver than I would have imagined. But the long irons weren't dialed. The chips are so easy here that I don't see Cam making bogeys unless he goes in the water.
Yeah, I think his floor is quite high. Again, I don't think he's the profile I'd be looking for to win the tournament. But of the LIV guys outside of Brooks and Rahm, he has been the most consistent in the major. So I don't think he can win, but I like Cam Smith. I don't know what the ownership is. That's not my area of expertise, but I just can support Cam. Jersey's running to the bathroom, but all Ben on. We like Ben on. The model likes Ben on. We didn't see anything to like or not like about Ben on. He was just out there playing golf, doing his thing. If you like Ben on, I support it. Sepp and Bez. We didn't see much Sepp or Bez. Actually, I don't think we saw any Bez, so I can't give you any Bez thoughts. Sepp, the only weakness in Sepp's game is around the green play. I think his off the tee and approach we didn't see a ton of him, but his off the tee and approach makes sense. His putting's looking good. So statistically, I like Sepp. And his one weakness in his game around the greens, and who else was teaching him how to play around the greens than Chris Kirk, who is sick around the greens. So if Chris Kirk's sickness around the greens can rub off on Sepp today, then Sepp could win the event. But we'd always have to give a shout out to Chris K if that happens. Keegs. I'll wait for Jared to get back on Keegs because that was something he was really high on. P-Raj. That's a good question. P-Raj was playing with Tony, and P-Raj was wiping the floor with Tony. So if you like Finau, you like P-Raj this week because P-Raj was looking quite good. Scrolling down here, we saw Siwoo. I'll wait for Jared on Siwoo too. You really liked him. I'll talk about Gooch because I got a good look at Gooch. Gooch was playing by himself. Maybe not surprisingly. Gooch was struggling. And we wanted to like Gooch because we think this is a Gooch. I mean, if you can flush your irons, you got a chance. And that's what Gooch was. He looked to me, and now we're kind of just making up takes and reading too much into it. Gooch to me looked like a guy who's feeling a lot of pressure to step up and put the money where his mouth is.
I gotta show this video of Gooch.
And I don't love a guy who is not an elite player. No, he thinks he's an elite player. What are you doing?
I'm going to show the camera this video of Gooch.
All right, Drew's going to show a picture apparently. But
this is Gooch with his coach. He was filming every single shot and going through feels.
Yeah, we hate that.
Like
that's one thing we don't like.
Feeling a lot of pressure.
Somebody asked about Neiman. We talked about Neiman. A lot. If it's a guy who's good and you're just joining now, we talked about him probably earlier in the show. But the guys I was going to talk about was where did he go? Keegs. You came into this week high on Keegs. It's also raining, which it's an auto bet usually on Keegs when it's raining. First round leader, you hammer him. Things are a little weird with Keegs.
Yeah, he was like struggling. Look, he was struggling on the range doing drills I wouldn't expect him to do. Towel under your arm drill, coach on in front of him,
coach in the bunker. I don't like the coach in the bunker
position.
Yeah, I don't. Anytime the coach is physically touching the player during a practice round,
and he's playing with Tiger, so that's a lot more.
Siwoo was a guy that is once we saw the course
so bad.
We saw Siwoo probably 5 different times. We watched him play. We saw Siwoo play probably as many holes as anyone. Each time we saw him, you were like, all right, if he can do something good this time, I'm betting him.
He had so many chances to impress us, and simply enough, he just did not. It looked like he was missing fairways.
He'll be like like that, like T26. Is that where
he didn't look good though?
Where did you put his over under this week?
35. Truthfully,
I think that's reasonable. Cam Young, you're betting Cam Young, but we didn't see much of it.
We didn't see much of Cam Young. Yeah, I'm just high on Cam Young in these situations.
Nap. Okay, let's talk about that grouping.
Oh yeah,
we get up
greatest group ever. Maybe
we get up to the 12th fairway, and we see Brooks Koepka, John Daly. We see John Daly first because he's got a cart, so he gets out ahead. Jake Knapp and Akshay Bhatia, and going to these practice. We saw Tiger Woods earlier before that from like point blank. Like we somehow stumbled across Tiger on the 8th hole and there was no one there. And I was like, wow, this is really, really cool. This was
unreal. John Daly it hit his driver in the rough. Obviously, he kicks it out to the fairway, rips his 3-wood with a cigar in his mouth. With the cigarette in his mouth, rips it. And then Jake Knapp, Akshay, Brooks, just the entire group, the vibes have to have been off the charts there.
It was stupidly off the charts, but both Knapp and Akshay, Knapp's irons, if I was going to like Knapp this week, which I kind of wanted to, it would be because his irons are so sick. Well, they weren't so sick. I think they were fine. But Akshay was another guy where Akshay was only hitting these massive high cuts with his irons, and they weren't totally controlled. And I prefer Akshay when he's playing a course that's a little firmer and faster, a little shorter, where a little more creativity is involved. And we kind of felt like you're not going to be able to play great this week with only one shot shape.
Yeah, it was just more about how big of a slice it was with an iron. Yeah. Like, yeah, Akshay's going to hit a fade, but it was starting at 50 yards right of the target, and a little too far for me.
EVR. This is not based on anything we saw. I love EVR this week. Long iron machine, Mr. EVR. Lowry, we talking about Lowry. He looks fine. Again, we didn't see him putt, so we don't know. Oh, Dean Burmey.
Oh,
Dean Burmester, one of my now favorite golfers.
Awesome.
I've officially committed myself to Stinger GC as my official team for LIV. I will be getting probably a polo, maybe a t-shirt, maybe a hat. Because I love Louis. He's one of my favorite golfers, first of all. So if you love the captain, that's a great start for a LIV team. Dean Burmey is the coolest guy on the course and nuclear from the tee. We did see he was the only player the whole week that we saw driving into the water on 18. That's up there with missing the fairway on 6, missing the fairway on 13. If your guy actually drives it into the water on 18, you have every right to be extraordinarily upset. It's not a hard drive.
And he's one of the chalkier guys in the lower 7K range. But I have to say, Dean Burmeister, the hottest sounding driver I've ever heard in my life.
Dangerously hot driver.
I've seen, I would say maybe Bryson is the one, but Dean, the ball comes off of his club face unreal, and the numbers back that up. This man is a driving savant, and it showed. But you got to drive in the fairway. He usually does.
I think he'll be all right. So you're out on LIV guys this week, as you said, from a winning the tournament perspective.
I'm more in than I've been. I was at the Masters, and I was out
What's your
completely-
ranking? Give me your top 3. Let's take Brooks and Rahm out of it because you don't. Those are your 1 and 2. I would assume.
No, I would say Neiman,
Okay.
Brooks, Rahm.
Okay.
Neiman really impressed me, and you too.
Yeah. So then, of the rest of the LIV guys, who maybe give me 1 or 2 that, like, if you had to pick 2 more LIV guys.
Puig, I liked him,
Davey.
and Cam's. I'm gonna say, like, not Cam. He's too high. No, I mean, we didn't see many others.
Not Andy Ogletree.
Andy Ogletree gave me good vibes though.
Andy Ogletree. The grouping was Andy Ogletree, John Rahm, Phil Mickelson, and was that it?
Puig.
Oh, and David. Yeah. So the LIV guys stuck together there. Shout out Andy Ogletree. We're boys with him now. Somebody asked about Pendy. For a while there, we were down for Pendy, and then we became not down for Pendy.
Yeah, on the whole thing, you have to respect hole number 1.
Yeah.
Aside, they have a shirt in the pro shop that says "Respect this hole," and it was like hole number 1, and it's just the most average basic golf hole.
If your guy, if tomorrow you wake up and your guy's 1 over through 1, unfavorite.
So yeah, Taylor was on hole 1 and hit it way left, but I think he's going to be fine. He's playing with Corey. His iron numbers are not really great, which is a bit concerning, but I expect him to play to the fairway from a majority of the time. And he's playing good golf. Like, he's got good vibes right now.
Yeah. All right. We're into somebody asked, with the soft conditions tomorrow, do you think there's some good bets for round score unders? I actually think tomorrow will be
the easier day.
No, I was going to say harder because, like, the weather's supposed to be good tomorrow.
Right. But it's still wet.
Yeah. So where'd we end up on? I've been writing up 13 to 14 is where I think the winning score is going to be. Do you still think -6 first round leader?
I'm going to go -6 first round leader. Yeah.
I think, okay, I'll go -7. I think somebody can take it a little bit deeper. Oh, first round leader leans. First round leader is not our thing. I bet first round leader 1 single time. It was Louis Oosthuizen at like API or something. I think he shot like 76. So I don't do a lot of first round leader. You do a secret first round leader card. You don't tell us who you bet first round leader until after the round and we find out if you won or not. My first round leader guy is first round leader top 5. Shout out to House Money. Lee Hodges, first round leader, top 5 and ties. Give me Lee Hodges.
Yeah, he big dick Tiger Woods today.
Lee Hodges, big dicked Tiger Woods. So if you're not betting him first round leader, we got to talk about Lucas Glover then, because Tiger and Lucas Glover got to where Tiger was playing by himself on 7. By the time they got to 8, Lucas Glover had showed up. So shout out to Glover, because Glover he's not afraid of Tiger. He's gonna show up and play with Tiger. Hodges is on the 8th tee and the 5th tee are connected. Hodges shows up on the 5th tee, and Glover's like, "How are you feeling, man?" He shouts over. Well, Tiger's like going through his prep. Glover doesn't give a fuck. He just like yells out to Hodges like, "How's it going?" And Hodges goes, "I'm doing better, man. I'm doing better." And we're like, "That's kind of weird. That's kind of odd." And then Tiger's standing, getting ready to hit on 8, like not quite ready to hit, but like
getting there,
getting ready to. And 99% of golfers would not move a muscle. They would be like, "Don't fuck with Tiger." Hodges walks behind him so that he can't swing, and just walks over to Glover, doesn't even look. Just hugs Glover and walks away. Glover completely doesn't give a fuck about Tiger. And when I saw that, I was like, I got to get some exposure to Lee Hodges.
Confident man. Very confident man. PGA Tour winner, Lee Hodges.
Hodges has been slammed on Bookmaker, apparently. And no, this is a true. BK's asking. This is a 100% true story. Jersey and I didn't talk. We didn't talk. Yeah, all these things happen. We didn't talk about it at the moment because we were just like, "This is dope. We get to watch Tiger from so close." About 15 minutes later, we were both like, "Did you see what Hodges did?" Like, Hodges completely iced Tiger Woods and stopped him from hitting a golf ball. So take that for what it's worth with Lee Hodges. Now we're just gonna like shout out some names way down the board. I want to talk about Nikolai. We didn't see Nikolai,
but he was around.
They have these scoreboards around the course, the scoreboards that they'll use, obviously, in the tournament. And during practice rounds, they tell you where the players are. It'll say what hole they're on, or it'll say short game practice round, or a short game practice area, or full practice area. Nikolai, I got to the course at 7 a.m. on Monday.
Yep.
We left the course today around 3 o'clock. We probably spent 30 hours, 25 hours of course. Nikolai was at the course the entire time. The entire time Nikolai was at the course. Nikolai is searching for something. No one wants him to find it more than me. Yeah, because I love Nikolai. I've declared he's a future number 1. It's going to be tough for me to decide who wins more majors between Nikolai and Nick Dunlap at this point. That's my new. I got to figure that out. But we didn't like that.
Yeah, Nikolai. The results are okay, at least of late, but the strokes gain, that how he's doing it isn't. So he's clearly searching for something, and he knows that.
We did not see much Matt Fitz. Do you like this course for Fitz?
No, I don't. The driving's minimized, and it's a lot of irons. Like I mentioned Matt Fitz, and you kind of said this exact thing. Like, we want Matt Fitz when short game is important, when driving is important, and that's really not this at all.
What is this right? CT Pond is $6,000, but all these other guys are under 6,000. But shout out to CT, go Dogs. We talked to him, fluff on the bag. We like that. We didn't see Tim Whiting. People are high on Whiting. Smalley, I blacklisted Smalley after his performance in Myrtle Beach. Jordan Smith. Lots of people are talking about Jordan Smith. I don't think they know who he is. I don't think they have ever watched him golf. We've watched him golf. We've watched him too many times. He committed one of the worst choke jobs I've ever been a part of, and worse than Mito. I would rather watch Mito at the PGA 1,000 times in a row before I would watch what Jordan Smith did at the French Open last year. I'm serious. We'll pull up Mito on this TV, but if that meant that it burned that memory out of my mind, I would be down. So I despise Jordan Smith as a golfer. Seems like a cool guy. People are extraordinary. I've seen many people writing him up. We can't. Can we support that or can we not?
I was surprised to see the people on Jordan Smith this week. I'm not really sure why. Are they looking at like the DP World Tour?
Is it because I think what happens is you get these guys on the DP who haven't had stats in like months.
Yeah.
And they see that he was fucking ball striking like 2 months ago.
He probably still is.
He looked good. I thought he looked fine, but I didn't. What's his? Again, I'm not a big DraftKings guy, but he's 5,500. I wouldn't nuke him. I don't see any reason why he is any more likely to play better than give me Vic Perez.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Let's see. All right, we're gonna do 5 more minutes, and like I said, all this stuff is up on Vincerix.com. You have to pay money for it, but I really feel like we're giving people their money's worth here. So,
there's a lot more stuff.
There's a lot more stuff on the site, more details, all the models, all the stuff, our picks, all the write-ups for that. So that's where everything's going to be. We did not see Tommy Dietz very much. Actually, I saw him at the airport. When I first got here, I saw both Dietrich and Pavone at the airport. I wanted to go over to Pavone and ask him what the hell happened at Wells because I talked him up and he played absolutely terrible. We didn't see Drew.
No, he played. We saw him on a.
Yeah, we saw Pavone. He played.
No, we saw Dietrich on 14. We saw and he stuffed it, and then he hit in a bunch of short game shots.
That's right. Okay, so we did see Dietrich, but we're more interested in Dietrich to find. We wanted to find Dietrich to find out if he's playing Soudal next week.
Yeah,
and we still don't know. You need to go find him tomorrow and find out if he's going to play Soudal. Michael Block did have a crowd. Michael Block is everything that you think Michael Block would be.
He is.
He is the man. He is embracing the moment for sure. But this is what I'll say, because there's a lot of Michael Block takes out there. I've always thought what he did was insane. And I respect it. We saw the club pros this week.
Yeah.
They are on the fact that that he is a club pro was actually kind of in the mix. It's even more astounding to me
after seeing
how bad the club pros are.
Whenever we'd see a club pro do something, we'd be like, yo, who is that? This is the worst thing I've ever seen. Then we oh, it's a club pro.
Yeah, we'd see a horrible shot and we're going to fade this guy on him. And it was a club pro every single time. So I have nothing but positive things to say about Block, but I will say his face is up everywhere. Yeah.
Down 18.
He has more people following him in his crew on the fairways than anybody. Shout out Michael Block. I'm looking for any other just random names that we saw. Bob Mack, 600 to 1 generational wealth opportunity.
Potentially.
Bob Mack, 600 to 1 generational wealth opportunity. All right. I think, Eric Cole, not dialed. Malnati, not dialed.
No, not.
Somebody asked about Neiman. We go back and listen to Neiman. We've given Neiman more than enough love here. Cam Davis. Let's end with Cam Davis because
that's right.
We'll end with our guy. I've declared I will bet him in every major. I'm not betting him at this major. We're not out on him. We have never seen Cam Davis not flush in person. Yeah. He wasn't flushing.
He looked good on Monday. Looked good on Monday.
I support Cam Davis, just not outright this week.
Yeah, and we're going to victory lap calling Cam Davis as our official pick of the pod. 300 to 1.
Well, we get to count Cam Davis no matter what he does into perpetuity after what he did at the Masters.
Yeah, I mean, you have a 301 guy in the mix after declaring it your official pick. That's a victory lap. And our official pick this week.
Nick Dunlap.
Nick Dunlap.
Yeah. So if Nick Dunlap can do what Cam Davis did at the Masters, we'll consider that a big clap. All right. We really appreciate everybody who listened in. It was awesome. I was watching the view count this whole time to see if it started dropping off. I was going to be like, we're going to stop talking about guys, but it did not budge. If anything, it was going up the whole time. So shout out to everybody who listened. Like I said, half the things we probably said, guys played bad. They're probably going to play good. And guys who played good are going to play bad because we watched 3 days of golf. We tried our best to watch as many shots as we possibly could. And as I will say it over and over and over again, because for me, we want to keep doing boots. We did see Ricky. Did not like what we saw from Ricky.
Almost killed a baby.
Almost. The worst shot of the week was Ricky hosel rocket out of the bunker that nearly decapitated a child. So we had to be out on Ricky after that due to safety hazards. The other safety hazard is SH Kim. You do not want to be 300 yards down the fairway on either side if SH Kim is teeing off. I know BK it's his favorite player, so I apologize to BK for that. When we do these things, we'll keep doing them. We'll see you at Pinehurst. We will keep doing them. If people understand, we're here to give the context of what we saw. We're not saying that if a guy played bad in a practice round, he can't play good in the tournament. And I don't think most people take it that way. The reason I keep being excited to do these things is because people always love it and they're always supportive of it. But just know that follow your gut. Bet your guys. This is one piece of evidence to go along with all the numbers and the other things. So that's what I'll say one more time. We'll finish with Jason Day.
Nice guy.
Let's finish with the Jason Day story, actually, because you met Mr. Malbon himself. So this is the final story.
That was the highlight of my week.
Jason Day, we see him. Everybody's wearing these. His whole crew wears Malbon. The man is Malbon. Who knows how much equity Jason Day has in Malbon, because it is an extraordinary amount, I would imagine. And he's getting a fat cut on these $300 T-shirts that they're selling. You see Mr. Malbon himself, and you are hyped because you have been high on Malbon for weeks. You've declared it the summer of Malbon.
It is the summer of Malbon.
We probably could have seen more golfers, but we had to go talk to Mr. Malbon. You talked to him.
Yeah. Went right up to him. He was super friggin' nice. Just told him that I declared it the summer of Malbon. He didn't say anything really worth noting, but he was just super nice, and he was like, thank you. And I was like, keep up the good work.
Yeah, and we did not see anything from Jason Day.
Except he was nice to every single fan. He signed more than anything else.
That's what I was going to say. Jason Day is a golfer this week. I can't give too much confidence about. I didn't love what I saw. I didn't hate what I saw. The man is far and away the nicest guy on the golf.
Best dressed.
And he looked sick. I was out on the Malbon, but when I saw the all pink outfit in person, I was down. It looks better in person. All these guys could ask for autographs the whole time. Jason Day stops, and he autographs everybody during the round. We love Jason Day. He's my new favorite. I've always liked Jason Day, but I'm so high on Day as a person. I'll be supporting him nonstop. So, cheers. We've had a great week. You're going to be here tomorrow. You're going to go watch from the course. I'm heading home first thing to get back to New York. I've got things to work on. I'll be watching. I'll be streaming. We'll be on Twitter. Again, like and subscribe. Follow up _golf. Oh, BK, we'll give you an answer. Who does Jason Day think is a good course fit this week? Everybody should delete this pod and go call Jason Day, because he will know who the winners are. No one knows more about who's going to play well than Jason Day. He did not know answers, though, unfortunately. But he did play today with a new Ripper GC team of Jason Day, Adam Scott, Cam Smith, and Cam Davis. If that becomes the Ripper GC4, they've got a great chance to win the title this year. We'll be all in on that. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Thanks so much for the support. This is super fun, and we'll talk to y'all later.
Peace.